What's up, everybody? This is another RWD gaming video. This is session 3 of the care package series known as, this episode is Crossroads. It is using the Expedition engine, acid rain style, done by our very own Jerry Lilly. And I'm going to throw it right to them and let them introduce themselves and whatever they want to plug, and we're going to hop right into it. So let's start with Dave.
Hey folks, Dave with Born Blade Gaming here. I'm glad to be back playing with these guys in Acid Rain, CADIAN'S Keep, and we're just going to prove tonight again that he is the King of Pain. You will call him Rex, and no, seriously, looking forward to some more fun with these guys and see what kind of shit we can fuck up.
That is the goal, is to fuck shit up. So now we're going to hop over to Jose.
Hey everybody, my name's Jose. I have the YouTube channel D20Z, and today I'm playing Crazy Joe. He's pretty much a insane prisoner. He's pretty much the nut job of the group.
Pocket grenades and whatnot. Jeremy.
Hey everybody, it's Jeremy. I am with the YouTube channel The Erasmus Expeditions, and I'm also 1/3 of the Dues of Yore podcast, which can also be found on YouTube. Definitely head over there and give us a like, subscribe if you like the kind of stuff that we're doing on both of those channels. Tonight I am playing Pops McKellar. He is an old, salty bastard who isn't afraid to tell things like they are, or at least like he sees them. I'm looking forward to playing him again, so let's do it.
And last but not least, Philip. I can't hear you, buddy. Can anybody else hear Philip?
He got the Italian food in his microphone, I think.
I didn't even ask him right when he got on the stream if I could hear him. I mean, he probably was saying stuff.
Yeah, try just. Well, he's gone.
Anyway, Philip doesn't have a channel. Philip Matty runs some critter-based games called A Fur and Fury. Pretty good. Should definitely check him out. But while he gets back into this, you guys are currently, of course, on CADIAN'S Keep, a prison island where most, if not all, criminals are sent when they are caught and judged for their crimes. And this place is a pay-per-view show for the rest of the population. Where there's money, there's corruption. So why should this place be any different? There have been some events that have taken place for the four of you that have kind of put you in the spotlight of the show for the last couple days. First of which was the surprising retrieval of the care package, which upon fucking around and getting to the bottom of that, you discovered. Philip, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me? Cool.
There we go. I kind of already introduced you, so we're hopping right into it. So you had recovered this care package, found out, got the sponsorship, kind of got an idea what that was last time, briefly, before the chip was ultimately stolen from you at the end by a cloaked man. And as you know, there's a Goodyear blimp, heavily fortified, floating through the air, that kind of shows the highlights of what's going on the island. And as you guys were kind of licking your wounds there at the end, you got to see this cloaked figure kind of incapacitate the leadership of the gang of the White Stallions. And when this cloaked figure took his hat or cloak off, it was revealed to be Atlas, someone who was fairly popular in the show a couple months back. He had gone missing probably about 9 weeks ago, 10 weeks ago. Wasn't a big deal. People go missing there all the time. It was kind of assumed he was dead. This guy had a fairly decent crowd following because he was the hero. He was getting revenge on his murdered daughter. And after kind of his spiel on the show, someone else came up and it was on to the next thing. He has the chip right now. And we find you guys back at the gas and garage where your altercation with some of the White Stallions went down. And you had gained a new party member, a older woman that Fox recognizes immediately, not Fox, wow, Mouth recognizes immediately as his mother. And she had received some sort of questionable surgical operation that left her missing the front part of her skull, and it had been replaced with some sort of an eye apparatus. So basically, she has kind of like a half metal face here, with no recollection of who her son is or any of you are. And that is kind of where we find ourselves now. You guys are in the midst of Pops getting his arm sewed up to stop the bleeding from where the chip was removed. And I believe everyone else had made it out pretty unscathed from the combat. Is there any questions about what was going on?
Yeah, how much experience did we get from last session? I'm just kidding.
You can. We can actually talk about that on the break because me and Philip were talking about that the other day. But anything else? That would. I guess we can just start by going around and. What are you guys' reaction to this woman that Mouth is claiming to be his mom, who has no idea who he is?
I think right off the bat, like, Crazy Joe would look at her and he would be like, I seen this shit before, man. This is like fucking Terminator, man. Like, Skynet's gonna get us. I know it.
Skynet. We're activating Skynet.
Yeah, and Rex kind of walks by Joe, or Joe, and he kind of puts his hand on his shoulder. He's like, "It's his mom, man." Shh. Yeah, I'm gonna go secure the perimeter, and Rex locks and loads and begins stepping out to make sure that nobody is, well, first of all, fucking with the ride. And can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
your video is frozen, but I can hear you.
Sweet. All right, I'll restart XSplit. Yeah, so he's going to go check the perimeter and make sure that everything's okay.
I will tell you what you see when we get through Pops and Mouth.
So Pops, has already kind of decided that Mouth's mom must not have been this way before, judging by the situation we found her in and his reaction to it. So Pops has just kind of decided that this is probably not the moment to really say much else. He's going to leave Mouth and his mom be and let them have their moment. And he's going to go with Rex to actually make sure that the car is essentially running, ready to go.
Mouth, this has got to be a relatively difficult time for your character. I don't know if you would have experienced anyone with, amnesia or anything like that. But this is your mother, despite your rocky history, that's your mama, man.
Yeah, so Mouth is just going to be probably like trying to hold the stiff robotic body, trying to like be comforted or comfort her, and just keep stroking the metallic face that has replaced her actual face. And he's just basically in mourning for his mom doesn't recognize him. She's basically dead.
And she's pretty cool here. Kind of spacey. But she finds like the casing that sits over the top of like the wiring and stuff, and it kind of like hooks into place, creating a smooth surface. And though you're trying to like comfort her and stuff, and she accepts that for a while, and she responds to you, "Now, dearie, I know I said this before, but I don't know you. I'm not your mother. I'd like to help you find her, though." And these eyes that she have, it's like two digital circles, or like LED screen circles that have like lights that light up to kind of show where she's looking, and sometimes they kind of like off kilter. And she sees that you guys are all kind of like obviously acting weird because Mouth recognizes her as his mom. Yeah. Now I don't think what you're looking for is here. And she kind of like hops off the chair and kind of steps over some of like the broken shit. And there's maybe like a bottle of water or something on the counter. And she goes over and she takes a drink. But a little less about me. Who was that fellow that came and assaulted this fine gentleman, pointing to Pops?
We don't know who he was. We think he was part of the White Stallions. Do you know? Are they the ones that did this to you, Ma?
Oh, to be honest, I don't really much remember anything. And it's not really bothering her that she doesn't remember anything. She's just kind of like, maybe even like mildly tidying up, like putting things upright or dusting them off. Maybe there's like a broom somewhere that she has like started pushing stuff into a pile. Kind of absent-mindedly at this point. She's not really trying to hold the conversation, maybe just being polite, if anything. No, do we already have this scene? I'm sorry. If you guys had rolled out already, I would imagine that once Pops and Dave had rolled around to check in the car, they would realize that the suspension was blown out from their impact coming off the top of the building. But the nice Cadillac that was probably the White Stallions that was here, that's still outside. So you hop in that.
Please tell me that it
and you're
has
able
the Longhorn horns on the top of
on the grill of the car. You read my mind. the chrome, maybe even gold, like gold finish, and then the Longhorns on the front of the bumper.
Yes.
Yeah, and you guys are rolling out in the car. Had you guys figured out where you were going?
To the headquarters of or to find Atlas from the White Stallions.
Okay. So basically, earlier you had taken a different turn as like the caravan of cars that were basically what you had thought were following you. They went the other direction, and you followed GPS to Mousebound. Backtracking and going that way, since in mind you, it's probably about 2 or 3 in the morning, and yes, you still do have that tablet that shows the locations of vaults and whatnot. And as so far, it's just been like a revolving Archie head, much to your dismay. As you drive in this direction, and you're probably driving east now, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Very dark out here in the less civilized part of this island. You kind of roll like a big spotlight on top of a building, and as you get closer, you kind of start to see that it's this massive barn, and there's kind of smoke starting to billow in the fields around it. They're small still, but someone has apparently set some of the like cast off fields on fire towards the edge of the barn. So yeah, there's like smoke billowing, the silhouette of this massive barn structure, maybe the small little farmhouse next to it, and the long dirt path leading up to it.
We just kind of found ourselves here.
It's kind of basically driving down the road the opposite direction you had previously. It's a straight shot. There's not a whole lot of like offshoot or anything roads until, in the distance you see this large building that you guys all would have recognized as like the headquarters of the White Stallions.
Oh, okay. So this is where we think that they've gone.
Yes.
And the fields are on fire?
They're starting to, like, the fields themselves are intact, but like the edges closest to the barn have kind of been set ablaze, and not everywhere. It's not like a full ring. It's like spontaneous fires here and there.
What do you boys think? What are we gonna do? You kill the lights and go in real quiet like?
It could be a distraction.
Yeah, I think we can manage that.
And you kind of look sideways at Rex.
You want me to go in quiet?
No, the boy's asking for a distraction. I can't think of a bigger, well, anything really.
Yeah, I can do that. He kind of claps his hands together and he looks at his, kind of kneels down and starts looking through his inventory, and he's got some tear gas, grenades, 50 cal, got my multi-tool. You guys got the drone?
I think Joe saying you like get all this stuff, he would be like, where the hell do you keep all this stuff at?
training, brother. Drop me off up there, and I'll create a diversion.
All right. Just don't get yourself full of holes.
Joe is in a company. He's gonna be like, I'll go with you in case, you know, shit goes down. I got your back.
Why don't we just sit here and let those fuckers burn?
I don't know if the fire's going to spread to the barn. It looks like they might have started it on purpose.
You think they're in that barn?
Oh. We followed them here, so they're probably either in the barn or maybe that house there. The light is on the barn, so I would imagine that they're watching for people.
Kind of as you guys are creeping closer, definitely still out of not necessarily eye shot, but your lights aren't pointing towards the scene here to give away your position against the fire. You kind of see like the shadow of a figure run out of the barn, and like throw something against the house, and as it smashes, it illuminates to, you know, this plume of fire as he kind of he tosses a Molotov cocktail into like one of the upper floors of this building. Maybe he's even bending over to light another one that's in his hand.
What do we think, friend or foe?
I say if it's not one of us, it's a foe.
You're damn right. You're damn right.
And he just pedals to the metal.
I like
Run
this.
his ass over, Pops.
Yeah, his intention is basically lights off just as fast as he can. He's going to take this Cadillac straight at this guy.
And as we're coming closer, I'm gonna get up in the back and pop a tear gas canister and then hook it in front of us to try to provide some cover with the smoke that comes from it.
So the way I picture it, the path kind of goes in a straight, like you bend the corner into a straight line going towards the north, with the house residing on the western side of this path, and then the barn on the eastern side. And he's kind of in the middle there on the path between them. So as you roll up, you're gonna smoke this guy. Which direction do you want to throw the tear gas? Out the passenger side, Dave? Towards the barn?
Yeah, the best advantageous to provide us some cover. Which way is the wind blowing, I think?
Gotcha. Well, for let's say this instance, the wind is blowing out of the west towards the east, towards the barn. So,
so probably on the far side then, so that it billows across.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I want give me a speed roll pops, and you get all 3 dice because I'm sure you have your pops. You ran some over, and then Dave. Let me get a force roll to see if you can kind of lob this where you want it to go out the window from the passenger side. Maybe 2 because we're driving fast. So, okay. Jeremy, we'll do yours second.
Sure.
Dave.
So I got a 5 and a 4. And my
what is your
force is 7.
So 2 successes. Perfect. So this guy, though you can, the revving of your engine as you guys are flying up the drive here, kicking up stones on the dirt path, He doesn't really notice you. You kind of can hear like the faint, like maniacal laughter of someone who is insane and could be nothing else. As he kind of throws this second Molotov cocktail into the bottom floor of this house. And Jeremy, is there anything specific you want to happen to this guy by hitting him?
Well, I'm, when in Rome, I'm going to use the horns on the front of this this thing's grill, and to the best that I can.
So yeah, I would say like the last second you turn a little bit to kind of put the point of this horn at the forefront of your momentum. And he barely gets to turn around, and he is visibly hooked to the front of your car. And at the same time, it kind of adds to the momentum of the tear gas grenade coming from Rex, and it lands perfectly in like a nestle that kind of maybe even a bush even that kind of funnels the gas out, and the wind takes it over, creating a large field of obscured vision. What do Crazy Joe and Mouth like to do?
You fucking pegged that guy, Pops. Nice one. Just yelling encouragement. That was sweet.
And yeah, this guy is kind of like limply laid out on the front of the car, half of a bullhorn sticking from his torso.
Is there anything we notice about the guy?
He's shirtless, and he's not white. This guy is like maybe Filipino or some sort of Pacific Islander, someone who would not be here. He's got like very tribal tattoos, long hair. Definitely not someone that would be associating with the White Stallions.
I don't know if he's a stallion, Pops.
Don't think so? Why not? Lots of them run around without their shirts on.
I mean, geez, look at him, man.
Pop kind of squints through the windshield a little.
Oh, yeah, I suppose you're right. He does look like a little bit tanned. Like he's a little tanned for the normal White Stallions. You may be right. Well, he's not making a very good hood ornament. Should we question him if he's still alive?
I actually have, and feel free to choose who. Someone do a knowledge or instinct roll.
Can I do an instant roll?
For sure.
How many dice?
I'm gonna say 1. This is a make or break situation. You either succeed or you don't.
I succeeded.
Okay, so I picture Crazy Joe kind of even walking out, getting out of the car and like kind of messing with this dude, maybe like pushing him back to reveal who he is. And he was also on the show about, a couple months back, around the same time Atlas was, maybe a little before. Everyone loved him because he was crazy. He was the Crazy Joe before the Crazy Joe we know and love. But he was really fucked up, very torturous, sociopathic. The show ended up stop airing him because of the stuff that he was doing was so bad. He's kind of like half able to spit out some words, and they're kind of garbled, and he ends up dying on the front of the car. And now that you Jose, now that you're looking around as well, and I'm going to let you respond to how you want to react to that. There's nobody outside except this dude. And it's a pretty plot of land here. Nothing. Nobody. No people. Just this guy.
That well, one Crazy Joe, like, he would put on his like gas mask just to make sure that the tear gas don't hit him, and just to be nice to Pops, he would take the guy off the horn and like drop him off to the side. He would go back to the car. I know this guy. His name is Crazy Joe. He made me look sane, but I don't really see anybody in here.
You did the right thing hitting him then, Pops.
What the hell is he doing setting stuff on fire for? If he's the only one out here. We need to find out what's in these buildings.
Yep, that's my cue. And then the door flies open. You see him just pull up the 50 cal, and he starts running up to the window, and he just smashes the window, throws a grenade inside, and then leans up against the wall and waits for his crew.
Are you going to the left building where he came from, or the one that he was starting the fire at?
Yeah, I was just going to ask the same question. Are you going towards the farmhouse or the barn?
Farmhouse.
So as you break the window, which, let me actually get a force roll from you as well. Again. 3-die.
Practice? Okay. Five, 4.
2 successes.
Mm-hmm.
So as you break this window and throw the grenade, you get a you've broken windows before. There is significantly more force that's involved in breaking this window than anticipated. And as you do, you break it, and there's like a pushback, and a plume of fire ejects like the backdraft of this. What you couldn't see before, but now this inferno from the inside kind of erupts out this window, getting some fresh air. And now like flames are coming out of the first floor window as well. And I mean, you could have also thrown your tear gas in, but I wouldn't necessarily know if you would have continued to do that knowing it's in fire inside.
Yeah, as soon as the blast comes back, it's pushing his arm back, and he just kind of, you see this strange look on Rex's face as he looks over at his crew like, what the hell's going on?
And as you kind of turn to look inside the window, there is probably 35 guys kind of tied up in a circle, all on fire. Some of them like kind of husked over. What you can imagine is the White Stallions gang has been effectively incinerated from inside this building.
Well, I don't think there's going to be anything else in that building that we can get to, Rex. It looks like it's a mite spent.
Yeah, he's nodding his head and watching Crazy Joe going to kick in the barn door.
Mouth, I don't know if you've gotten out of the car yet, but your mother kind of looks at you because maybe you hesitate to get out or something, and she kind of like taps your shoulder. It's okay, dearie. And from like underneath the car seat, she pulls out like this like badass sniper rifle that you maybe not. She had scooped up somewhere that you had no one had seen this, and she kind of like taps it. I'll be okay.
Why don't you just sit tight, Ma? That way you don't accidentally hit one of us.
Yes, dear. Go on. Go help your friends.
All right. So Mouth will hop out of the car and I guess seeing the terrific success of Rex, he'll go and kind of with his shotgun trail behind Crazy Joe.
You muted.
Jose, you said you were approaching the barn, correct? Crazy Joe was going towards the barn.
Yeah, he's gonna try to kick the door in.
I'm gonna say that's a force roll as well. Probably 2.
We got 2 successes.
So, you're feeling the heat of the moment, and as you approach, weapon in hand, you put your weight behind your right leg, and this door kind of, maybe it was the force of your kick, maybe it was the fact that this is an old barn. The door kind of just like falls into the room in front of you.
Yeah, he would like kick it and see it go down and be like Chuck for a second. And he would pull up his gas mask and he'd be like, "Is anybody here? If you are, come slowly. I got a golf club and I'm not afraid to use it."
And as you kind of do that, your voice almost echoes, but you hear someone else's voice echoing at the same time. And as you kind of look in the room, you recognize this scene as the Goodyear blimp scene had broadcasted a little while ago when Atlas had confronted the White Stallions and had beaten 2 of them to death and leaving, I believe, Remy still alive. It's kind of like a, despite the fact that from the outside it looks like an older style barn, the inside is kind of set up like a newer style pole barn. A couple beams, everything is open, some like 4 or 5 overhead lights that illuminate pretty well, maybe not down in the lower portions in the corners, but it seems pretty legit for a barn that looks as old as it does on the outside.
And there's nobody in there.
Not that you can see, but like I said, you can hear someone else talking, and their voice is kind of echoing through this.
Gotcha. If I can, he's gonna like run in.
So as you run in with Mouth kind of guarding your back, you see that like the door kind of comes around. There's the open warehouse. It's not really a warehouse, open pole barn. And there's like kind of slats every once in a while for maybe horses or something. You see like on the far side, kind of a more yellow light as compared to the natural white light above you, kind of focused in on one of these stalls. And as you walk in, you can see 2 white guys and large puddles of blood around them. Their faces probably look more like mashed potatoes than faces. And Mouth coming in behind him, you kind of see some like crates and various things like vehicles, tactical vehicles, tactical equipment, kind of like line the eastern side of this building.
So since there's like a stash with stuff, what are the chances that I can try to find like a fire extinguisher to try to put out the fire?
Let's say, give me an instinct roll.
Success.
So yeah, basically right as you walk in, there's one of the support columns has a big arrow fire extinguisher.
I gotcha. He probably like, even though he has a golf club, he would just put it down and like punch it then, grab the fire extinguisher and just start like checking it out, making sure it works. He's not even looking at mouth. He's just like, fuck it. Start spraying it.
Well, nothing inside the barn is on fire. It was the area outside the barn
Oh, yeah.
and the farmhouse.
Okay, well, he would then start running to the outside, and he would tell Mouth, like, see what you can find. I'm going to try to put the fire out.
Geez, someone tenderized these guys' faces. All right, let me poke around and see what I can find.
Pops.
Before we do that, what is Pops and Rex doing?
Pops is kind of running over to, or not running, hustling for Pops.
What Pops would call running.
Pops
I think it's called limping.
Yes, it is. All of the above. He's sauntering over to the barn, seeing that the house is pretty much a lost cause. And he's going to tell them such. He's going to say,
Well, the house is just one big barbecue, and I don't think we want to stick around for the time that they serve the meat. It's going to be a little overdone. So, what's going on? Oh, sweet baby Jesus. What happened to those fellas' faces? What's going on in here?
I think this is a trap, or somebody beat us to it.
Look at all this fancy stuff they got in here. Wait, this fellow is going to burn all this stuff instead of using it?
Pops, as you kind of hobbled over to the barn, you notice that, like, as you're going from the house to the barn, parked behind the barn was all those nice ass cars and trucks that had caravan past you. And as the four of you kind of, I think, Crazy Joe kind of rushes out with a fire extinguisher, and you two kind of meet him at the door like, obviously, no, that's not going to work. You're going to need more than just one. You turn all your attention back into the warehouse and see these two guys smashed to shit on the floor. And I'm not sure if any of you had seen that scene play out there at the end of the Goodyear blimp. But before you move any farther, there's kind of like a vibration on the tablet. And for the sake of it, one of you had brought it with you from the car. So let's say that for this, I would say Mouth had it. Mouth, you have the tablet. And it vibrates for a second in your pack. Take it out and you open it up, and your favorite TV host, Archie Shaw, makes his wonderful appearance. And this isn't how you usually see him. Usually, he's in his nice kind of normal suit or whatever he would wear for the show. He's kind of in like a dressing room, and he's kind of frantic. And you see him like lean off screen, and you hear him snort something, and he kind of looks back and kind of is like, okay, look, you guys fucked up by letting that guy get that chip. Atlas has been on some wacky escapades since we lost track of him a couple months ago. I don't know what the fuck he's up to killing the White Stallions, but he had no reason to fuck with my show like that. You guys go in there and you kill him. Is that understood?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Sounds like you're the one who fucked up if you lost control of him.
Mouth, we gave you your mom back. And he's kind of like still fucking with his nose. We can take her away again. Kill him. I'm not going to tell you again.
Rex is going to take the tablet, throw it on the ground, and he's going to stomp on it.
Give me a force roll, and you can have 3.
Two 5s and a 1.
3 successes then.
Yeah, because I got a 7 and 4s.
So yeah, this thing, and I'm not sure how much experience all of you would have with handheld tablets and stuff like that, given your time here. But this thing is kind of built to last, and you know, Rex, you throw it at the ground, and it kind of bounces and leaves like a chunk out of the cement. And as it lands on the ground, and you start to stomp it, it takes a second, but you do the job, and it is effectively broken. And at this point, the echo of someone talking has stopped.
So we're supposed to go in this fucking barn?
If you'd like to. As far as you can tell, it was only one voice talking.
And what was it saying?
It was hard to make out the echoes coming off, like, it's not necessarily echoes. I guess I could use a better word. It's like muffled conversation. Without really listening in, it was hard to tell what they're talking about.
Pops kind of motions and like then swings his finger to indicate that he's going to move around behind the back of the building to see if there's any other escapes, things of that. But also he wants to kind of check on these cars.
So Pops, you kind of back up, kind of walk around this building. Is anybody else doing anything? Or are you guys hanging out at the door?
Rex is going to stick his head in, but he's going to cautiously look around, like trying to get a lay of the land with his eyes as to what he's seeing within. Maybe get a better synopsis of what's going on, summary.
So basically, the way I envision this barn is, like the standard Gabrielle style big red barn. It's got like the large sliding door there in the center, and then like off to the left side of that, there's like the small normal door that you could walk in. I picture you guys at that kind of normal door, and looking in, there's like just a dividing wall, maybe like a stall for horses or something, and you would walk in and turn left, and there'd be the large central bay with the headlights at the top. On the opposite side from where you can see, there's more of those like separated walls, and you could probably imagine at one point it was used for horses, but right now it's used for canned goods, weapons, tactical vehicles, tactical equipment, all sorts of just someone's prepping for war in here. And it would sound like the conversation being had is probably in one of the stalls on your side of the barn.
So Crazy Joe, he's outside looking at the fire, looking at the extinguisher, like fuck, I can't do anything with this. So he starts walking back to go into the farm, but he's gonna grab his backpack real quick and like pull out a grenade and put the extinguisher in there, close it, and he would like reach through the window at Mouth's mom, and he would be like, I'm sorry I called you the Terminator, ma'am. And he would take the grenade and like hand it to her. Here's to press it and give it to her, and then he would start walking to the barn.
And she would kind of like open up her purse and put it in there. And like, no offense taken, dear. And you kind of approach the rest of the group there, kind of half in the door. Mouth, are you doing anything at the moment?
So did Mouth see the stockpile of like military weapons inside the barn?
Absolutely.
So he's basically just freaking out like, geez, what's going on? Why is there so many weapons? What are they gearing up for?
So, which of us three moves the quietest?
I don't really know. I guess it comes down to how you describe it.
I've got a loud mouth and quiet feet.
Well, why don't you shut your mouth and go in there and see what's going on?
Geez, no need to be so pushy. All right.
I am a bully. And fuck you for saying it.
I didn't even say it. Jeez.
You were thinking it.
So Mouth, you creep in the door, and as you kind of peek your head around the corner, you see that the central bay is for the most part empty, except for towards down the other end. You can see some more like Humvee-esque, maybe even the nicest white truck out of that caravan had been pulled inside from like the sliding door on the opposite end of the barn here. And you can see that there's like the overhanging light over one of the stalls clicked on at the very far end of this barn on the same side. And at the same time, Pops, you're kind of creeping your way around the far side of the barn here. And right as you come around the corner, when an archaeologist comes across, the lost artifact he's been looking for, when you walk around this corner, stars hit your eyes. The most beautiful collection of vehicles you've seen since you've been here.
Oh my. This is the most beautiful thing that I've seen since Okinawa. Oh my God.
He's gonna like kind of go over and place his hands on this car and kind of gently caress it.
So it's been recently waxed. So you just as you dreamed it would be, this is the most pristine vehicle on CADIAN'S Keep that you've seen so far.
And this is the white truck, you said?
This is not the white truck. This is probably like a black Cadillac or a white Cadillac or something.
Nice.
And there is, like the caravan you've seen earlier, there's quite a few of them. Probably 10 separate vehicles. And putting two and two together, that was roughly how many people were tied together in that house.
Pops is gonna kind of take a second to look it over and kind of drink it in, and then he's gonna kind of shake it off and look around and head towards the double doors that would open up into to allow vehicles to pass, and he's gonna try to see if he can't start opening that.
And as you do, they've been recently greased. They kind of just flow open with the push. You don't really have any real difficulty and kind of see Mouth on the far side creeping around the corner. In this barn's probably, I would say maybe 50 feet long, probably by 30 feet. It's a big barn, but of course it's no, mansion or anything. And You can see the light emanating from the one stall, but with the way you have opened the doors slightly, it's kind of blocked your view. Behind the truck, and yeah, of course, you would notice the truck first. This immaculate, beautiful, Ford, whatever. Every bit more beautiful than the one you had just admired. Parked behind it is the motorcycle that you see drive off about 2 hours earlier.
When he sees that, he's going to kind of roll out of the way of the open doorway and reach underneath his leather vest, where he's got all these biker patches all over. And in between the leather vest and his kind of dirty wife beater tank, he's got these 2 submachine guns that he's still got in these under the arm holsters that he's going to pull out.
Mouth, you watch yourself in there. I saw that motorcycle we saw earlier.
Yeah, I'll be careful.
And at this point, like I was saying earlier, the conversation has stopped. The muffled noise, the muffled noise or the muffled conversation has kind of came to a halt. And Pops, for you, it's been replaced by like the first thing that comes to your mind is when you drop like an overripe tomato, kind of like a just a splatter. And the edge of this stall or the light is emanating from kind of just flecks red. What would you guys like to do?
So, was this loud enough that Rex could hear them talking?
No, not really. And I said it wasn't even really a conversation. It was kind of just one guy talking.
No, I meant between Mouth and Pops.
Oh, I would say it was pretty safe to say that Pops had voiced that from across the barn to Mouth.
So I heard it.
Yeah.
All right. So Rex is like, looks at Joe and he says, "We're going in." And I start sprinting across past Mouth and I basically turn and level the 50 caliber into wherever he would, wherever we think that the voices were coming from.
Yeah, Joe would he'd probably be eating, so it's like in his mouth, and he'd be like, "Fuck!" So he would grab his freaking golf club and just start chasing right after.
So as the 4 of you on various angles kind of circle around this room, you see Pops would see it first. And you're probably maybe even using like the motorcycle and or truck as cover as you sneak in here. But you see in this stall against the far wall, and you have all seen this man, Remy, the one of the 3 leaders of the White Stallions, and he seems to be affixed to the wall. You can't really see how, and I mean, actually, to be honest, I don't think that would be recognizable about him is the clothes that he's wearing. His face is smashed to pieces. It's kind of just like a bloody stump where his head would be. And there is a cloaked figure with a sledgehammer doing his job.
So, has Pops seen this individual, this cloaked fellow?
Had you been paying attention to the blimps a couple months back, from behind, this dude is a massive guy, every big as Rex, maybe a little darker complexion. He honestly, yeah, you'd probably get a chill down your spine as you see that this is the guy that had assaulted you a few hours ago.
Rex, hit him! Get him! Shoot him full of holes! Put the bastard down!
So I would imagine as Rex levels this 50 caliber on the guy, he thinks about it for a second. Then he takes the 50 caliber and he sets the thing aside, and he starts walking forward to the guy and tries to punch him in the back of the head.
And as you draw closer, he kind of hits him one last time, and he stops and he goes to turn around. Welcome to my new headquarters. I am Atlas. And he kind of like drops the hammer from his hand, and so it lands on the floor with a tink. I solved your problem. You are no longer being pursued. The White Stallions are dead. You didn't happen to see my friend, did you? Kind of a gangly Filipino guy.
It was awful. He set himself on fire. He said he couldn't live with what he had done.
It's about that time that this meaty fist connects with his jaw.
Give me a force roll. 3 dice.
Seven is my force, so 4, 4, 7.
Did you keep track of how many points you got last game?
No, I did not.
I think a few of you were at 2, so we can just give that as a square number. Everyone's at 2 right now. We need a total of 5 to get care packages now, just to prevent what happened session 1. So yeah, as your rock of a hand collides with this solid ass jawbone, you definitely stagger him back quite a bit. Had he not like dropped the sledgehammer to the ground and used it to support himself, you probably would have knocked him right on his ass. And from the bloody lips, he spits, and you hear a tick, tick, tick off the floor as you punched out one of his teeth. And he's like, "That's not really one way to thank someone for saving your lives. Every man." Fuck off. Well, okay. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry, dialogue, please.
No. All the White Stallions are dead. Those Nazi skinhead motherfuckers are all dead, and I killed them.
After you cut my arm open, what the hell was that all about?
He reaches into his pocket. for this case. He pulls out. For this. Do you have any idea what this is? This could change everything on Cadians. You have no idea. Just the slight. Go ahead.
Regardless of what it is, it was inside my goddamn arm. You savage, you cut into me so that you could steal it.
Cut into you to put it into you.
Yeah, man, you don't enter anyone's body without consent.
Listen to this progressive young man. He understands where things stand now.
Is that what you said to Archie when he put it into you in the first place?
So why is it that you are helping us? And I'm using air quotes, but I'm too lazy to actually do it.
Because I don't know about you, but I have had about enough of this fucking rock.
So could say Joe would like stop him halfway while he's talking. He'd be like, "Look, you bold bastard, you fuck with Pops. You don't fuck with Pops and live." And he's gonna start like running his way with like his golf club like in hand.
And as you're running at him, Dave comes up with another cross, and this time Atlas was slightly more aware of this one, and he managed to step back, but not far enough that you didn't punch him. So he gets punched again, and he scoops up his hammer and he holds it out to you. Punch me again, and I'm gonna kill you.
Not unless you can breathe through 14 holes in your lungs.
I suppose if that's your answer for everything, there is no means of negotiation, you might as well do it right now.
I'm willing to hear what you've got to say, even though you sliced into my arm like it was a Thanksgiving ham.
Well, unfortunately, I don't really think you were in a position to just give me what was inside your arm. This chip, I don't have my chip anymore. I don't know where I just put it. This chip allows you access to weapons caches all over the island. Weapons powerful enough to turn the tides on that goony ass motherfucker that runs this show.
And you took it.
And I have it right here. And I know where all these safe houses are. And I have a plan. Do you have a plan? Do you know what you're doing with this?
They're always listening.
How do you expect to take the fight to this chiclet tooth motherfucker?
Have you seen what they did to that guy's mom's eyes?
Unfortunately, yes.
Well,
he
they
now
can do
has
it
a
to
robotic mother.
They can do it to a lot more than just eyes, I can assure you.
Are you thinking of having some modifications done? Is that what this is about?
Not me personally, but I'm sure that people trying to stop you from getting what you want would.
But this entire series of islands is surrounded by mines in the water. There's video cameras on these drones that are flying around all over the place. How do you propose that we get to Archie Shaw?
Well, you guys have been in contact with him since you've been on the island, or you wouldn't have had that implanted in your arm. He's got to come here sometime. And I kind of had the notion that if you did enough stuff to make him mad, he might be willing to show up again.
How about we tell him we killed you and he comes to collect your body?
See, now, I don't know why they call you mouth. They should call you brain.
All right. So we have to find a third behemoth on this island in order to stand in for the corpse, in other words.
Just curious, while we're talking here, Rex has just kind of put down his arms, but he's watching the hammer.
Yes.
and I want to wait for him to think that I'm not going to punch him again, and I'm going to grab the hammer from him.
Give me
speed.
Yeah, give me a speed roll. And I'm gonna say this is like mid part of the last part of the conversation.
Okay. So I got a 6 and an 8, and my speed is a 2.
So 2 successes.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you managed to kind of grab the. He might even be leaning on it. So you kind of grab it, and he kind of like when someone knocks your arm off a table. And with that, he kind of closes his hand around the chip and staggers back, and you have his hammer now, and he kind of like, I'll crush it. I'll crush the chip. We'll all die.
I'm just, you know, because you're so badass, I just want to even the playing field. So I step back and I put the hammer outside of the stall, and then I pick up my 50 caliber again, and this time I level it on him. Go on.
Oh yeah, me, the big strong guy who's punching people in the face while they're trying to talk to you.
All right. So we're going to what? Draw in the dirt. You've got little X's and O's that you're going to run us through. What's going to happen?
I've got a third-party individual that had managed to get a track of all the locations that they have caches from. And there's one big one here in the north of the CADIAN'S Keep that I have reason to believe is where they'd be experimenting with things like what they did to his mom. And like, you see now that this guy hasn't moved very much. And when Dave took the hammer, he felt he's not walking right. There's something wrong with one of his legs. I won't survive here in my current condition. And I want to go home. I don't deserve to be here. Do you? Does anyone?
What are you suffering from?
What was that?
What are you suffering from?
Well, I quit complying with Archie, and he had his guys break my leg in 3 places. And it doesn't exactly heal right with no doctors around.
Crazy Joe has been known to do some surgery. I don't know if he's certified or anything, but he seems to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to put your leg back in place or take it off. Up to you.
I ain't never heard anybody dying of a broken leg. What's killing you?
The island. That was about as much as I could do to get to you and take the chip and get here and kill all these guys.
Seems pretty capable.
I'm tired.
But
I had help, and it seems he set himself on fire.
so you want us to help you make some kind of armed raid on this laboratory?
Well, to be completely honest, I wasn't asking for your help when I took the chip, but you seem to have found me and forced your help upon me, so you can either help me or you can not. That's up to you.
Helping you is the alternative to killing you.
And like with a sigh, at this point, it doesn't fucking matter.
So,
Good. Welcome to the team.
one leg, why don't you have a seat there and take a rest for a moment while I talk to my friends here.
And he kind of like falls down and maybe like a fold out chair and kind of like tosses the chip. He's like, you know what? Fuck it. And he throws it to you guys. It doesn't matter who catches it. Actually, Crazy Joe catches it. You guys can figure it out.
So I step out of the stall and next to these guys, and I'm like, so what do you think? I'm kind of leaning. I'm keeping the 50 cal on him, but I'm leaning over my shoulder. I mean, Archie could be listening to us right now.
And like right as you walked out of earshot to like talk to them and say that, I took out the cameras. He kind of like swivels his back to you dramatically in the chair.
Close your fucking ears.
Can Joe like walk up to him and put like earmuffs on?
Yeah, I don't suppose by now.
Well, Mouth, you're the one that they've done the wrongest to with this gears and televisions and stuff that they put inside of your mama. So, what do you think? You want a little bit of revenge?
Pops, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you that my mom was dead to me long ago. But that still don't make what they did to her right. I think we bring those fuckers here and we bring them to justice. And then we get the fuck off this rock.
I'm picking up what you're laying down. I think maybe this fella's going to give us the means to do just what you were talking about. What do the rest of you think?
Joe would get up and he would look at Pops and he would be like, "Pops, whatever you think is right is fine with me. I'm with you until the end."
Yeah, you're a little cocksucker there. And I'm kind of leaning over my head over the shoulder with my eye kind of trained on him. Like, I'm not going to trust him. I'm never going to trust him. But if we can get the fuck out of here, I'm all right with that.
I certainly wouldn't mind knocking some of those white teeth in from Archie's mouth. Having the chance to do that would make me feel a lot better for the last 20, 30 years. Well, I guess maybe we should go ahead and hear him out. And at the very least, I think we load up as many of these vehicles as we can with as much of this stuff as we can, and we take it away from here at the very, very least. Yeah, it's going to be a matter
Yeah,
of
we
time.
could be rich on the outside. Good thinking, Pops.
Oh yeah. Even if we don't get outside, it's going to make living here a lot more comfortable. And as soon as the people here start hearing that the White Stallions have been taken down, this place is going to be like a Black Friday sale at Walmart.
So Rex actually kicks out the shell and pulls the cartridge and puts it into one of his pockets. Walks over on the ground and he picks up the teeth that he knocked out. He walks over to Atlas and he says, "I don't trust you, but we'll see how far this takes us. What's your real name?"
With his like bloody mouth here, I don't really expect you to trust me, but I expect your hatred for Archie Shaw to be just on par with mine. And you said, what is his name?
What's your real name?
Well, the crowd gave me the moniker Atlas, but I'm Mackenzie Rope. And he like holds out his hand, like the just as meaty of a hand as yours. And he holds it out to shake your hand.
And Rex reaches out and shakes his hand, and he says, "I'm Reginald Payne."
Reginald?
Oh shit! Your name's Reggie?
Not a fucking word, or I reload this thing and I shoot all three of you.
That explains so much about your angry persona.
Oh my god. Pops,
Yeah,
the first
whatever
bullet
you
is for
say,
you.
Lord Reginald.
Second bullet is for Mouth, and Joe is actually playing it smart.
With that, Crazy Joe would look at Rex and he would be like, Reginald, can you put him in the table real quick?
Fuck me, I don't trust any of y'all.
So Atlas, he stands up and like, now that you guys have managed to kind of gather more visual stimuli from the room, you see that there was like this room kind of has like deer antlers mounted, like trophy mounts along the wall, and Remy is actually pinned up onto one of these, kind of like 4 or 5 of the points sticking out of his chest. Like I said, his face is all torn up. We see Atlas like walk over and like reach into his pocket, kind of fiddle around, and like you hear the jingle of keys, and he tosses them to Pops.
Yeah, Pops kind of reflexively kind of reaches up and catches him.
These for this white bastard here?
That it is, that it is. I'm more of a motorcycle guy myself, so I'll ride my bike.
Oh, well, so I'll consider that a nice consolation prize to this new scar on my arm. You messed up one of my favorite tattoos, but this is a good recompense.
And he kind of like walks past you. You know, he like spits out another bloody loogie and kind of smiles at you. And his teeth are all like the red and yellow mixture. And he's like, maybe this can be the start of that recompense. And he goes over and he hops on his bike. And before he kicks it on, the place I've been staying is about 20 minutes from here. It's a kind of a bomb shelter, if you will. Someone must have built it before all the shit went down, but pre-CADIAN'S. My contact lives there. She will have a better idea of what the hell's going on with her face, and he's kind of like pointing to the I guess he might not be able to see her, referring to Mouth's mom.
Yeah, I would imagine that she's actually come in from the car by now and is kind of edging around the corner behind everyone, watching what's going on. Curious.
She's probably like got this fucking like sniper rifle trained on this dude's head, and no one's really noticed her because she's like, you know, 3.5, 2 feet tall.
Yeah, then Joe would pick up and he'd be like, Atlas, can you get in this table real quick?
And he kind of like, easy, Grandma. She approaches and kind of like she sees that all 4 of you don't really have your weapons drawn on him per se. I guess did you still have the 50 cal pointed at him, or are we all getting into the truck here?
Well, I think that Mouth was gonna, or I'm sorry, Joe was gonna look at his leg, and so Pops is loading the truck, and I think that we're gonna start setting up the body of the White Stallions to look like Atlas, and then we're going to burn the barn. And so we need Atlas to strip down and swap clothes to at least throw him off momentarily.
Okay.
Actually,
yeah, for sure. So,
and actually, what I want to do is I want to put a couple of his teeth, and I want to pop a couple of his teeth out, and I want to shove Atlas's teeth into the guy's head because, you know, it's gross, but at the same time, they might actually look at those teeth first.
So actually, the like bloodied corpse there on the wall, give or take, is about the same size as Atlas. And through the blows with the hammer, he has no teeth remaining. So asserting these few teeth in there would probably be little to no problem. It's going to be another kind of yes and no roll. I'm going to maybe knowledge versus instinct, whichever's better. For Rex, if you would please.
Okay, knowledge versus instinct.
Yeah, whichever's better. Just roll one. If you succeed, you know, these teeth stick in. If not,
so question for you. I went with knowledge of a 5. So do I need to roll below that or above that, Jeremy? Or, sorry, Baron?
knowledge is a 5. You would need to roll above.
Okay. So I got an 8.
So yeah, you can easily manage to stick these teeth into like the bloodied pulp of this head. You can kind of, you know, get him down, switch off his clothes, put on Atlas's saddlebags of his motorcycle. He pulls up kind of like his original prison getup uniform from when he showed up here. And he got off to the side and he's like, I guess on second thought, if we're thinking I'm dead, probably shouldn't ride this out of here where they can watch me. And he maybe pulls like a tarp or something into the back of the truck, and he kind of like hops in the back, slides the window open there in the back pane of glass, and he's like, I can tell you how to get there. We just got to get going.
So yeah, Pops is just gonna keep loading, you know, as much as he can, focusing on the stuff, you know, canned goods and water and things to kind of last them, because you know there's no telling if this is actually going to work and they're going to get out of here or not. As well as making sure they've got plenty of bullets and grenades and all that good stuff.
This is a fantastic idea. I think I jumped the gun with him hopping in the back. So you guys are managing to pile, you know, tactical equipment, weapons, ammunition, canned goods, bottled water.
Ma, come help us with this stuff. And Mouth will definitely be helping load all that shit into the Humvees too.
And she's grabbing like 4 cans, as much as her tiny arms can grab a hold of. But when she's like stacking them in there, it's like super Tetris, fucking like compact into the back of this truck. You are able to kind of cover that with a tarp with Atlas in the back and rev up the truck to head to your next destination, which from what Atlas told you is like a bomb shelter gig about 10, 20 minutes away from here. And Pops, give me a speed roll. 3 dice.
Ooh, okay. I rolled 3 dice, but I only got 1 success.
So yeah, despite Alice's directions, it's a. I got a piece of popcorn stuck in my throat. The darkness among the various winding turns here takes you a little longer than expected. And by the time you do finally roll up to this place, it's been about 40 minutes as compared to the 20 he said. But there's kind of like a porch light in a trailer that looks super decrepit, and it's kind of odd that like the porch light's on at all. But you guys managed to wheel up there and get out and find this hatch that leads into the ground. When you go down there, I guess before I even push you guys down there, are you going down there? Are you following this guy's blind advice to go into a hole in the ground?
I definitely think that we probably make him go first. Before we go down there.
He probably gives like a signature tap on this hatch before it kind of lifts open. And you see this chick, and she's got like some matted dreadlocks held back in a bandana with like some goggles with like a cracked lens and like a gas mask and like a bio suit. And Atlas is like, "Don't you fucking tell me you're cooking meth down there again." And she's like, "No, not again, not again." And am I getting the robot again?
No, I'm sorry. I was making the joke about her looking like a robot.
Oh, no, she's not a robot. Maybe. She could be. So you guys kind of like go down the steps, and it's lit by some like flicking fluorescent light bulbs, and it almost appears as like an old shipping container that's been buried underground. There's some like cots, shelves for canned goods. It's very picked through, not a lot of supplies left, and in fact, the stuff you're bringing down is restocking this place to practically full.
How long have you guys been down here?
It's been a couple months. I found this place after they broke my leg. Jasmine here, she fixed me up. And he like kind of like stretches it, and it's only like able to, it can't even like extend fully out. It's like crooked, to the best of her abilities anyway. She's more of a technical whiz than a.
Well, I suppose we should thank you for inviting us into your home. Strange as conditions are. So, what exactly is the plan from here? Are we? Where is this place that we're supposed to take down?
And towards the back of the shipping container, there's like a glow of LED screens, similar to the ones you had, like in the vault from the beginning of session 2, like the big plasma screens. Well, and he like walks over and he points to a location. There's like a map brought up on one. That's the old TV station. And if our information is correct from what we should hope to find on this chip, that's where the biggest weapons cache is that they were going to cat and mouse you around the island for the next year and a half to get ratings up until ultimately they got you there. So we're gonna go there first and skip the whole fucking game. If what I heard is correct, there should be some pretty cool shit in there.
Well,
maybe enough to turn the island on its head.
You'd think that this island has a honeycomb of secured tunnels that the station has to work with, right?
And he kind of smiles. Man, you're not as you're smarter than you look.
Oh,
That's
fuck
what
you.
I had to. He's like, when I decided to stop listening to them, they knocked me out, and I found myself in the same room as Archie Shaw, and I couldn't figure it out. And when they dumped me off, I was in some random ass spot. So that led me to believe that there had to be somewhere they were moving people without being out on the island. And I think that's how they supply these weapons caches. I think that there are entrances to these in various weapons caches around the island. And I think that honeycomb is how we're going to find Archie Shaw. Because if you think you want to smash his teeth in, and he smiles, revealing like the blank spots in his mouth now, I've got a few ideas of my own.
So you think that this station is one of the entrances into this network of tunnels?
I think so. I seen when they brought Mouth's mother here, but that's where they came out of. I've been keeping a little profile and seeing what information I can pick up, and that was the first time I'd seen someone brought to the island, not in the usual way, the prisoner way. And it changed my idea that we may, in fact, be able to get off this hellhole.
Tell me, when they brought her first onto the island, was she herself?
That's a hard question to answer. I guess I didn't really know her as herself. I don't really. And he looks at her, and she's probably like fucking with something, or like actually no, she's probably like meticulously cleaning this rifle, like has it broken apart and like organized in front of her, like on a cloth, and putting it back together. I don't know if I've ever known this person.
So Joe would be like, shit, we gotta go to tunnels? I can't do that, man. I'm claustrophobic.
Rex just reaches over and punches him in the back of the head with a donkey punch, knocks him out, and drags him down in tunnel like B.A. Baracus.
Ear horror.
Yeah, we had a guy back in Afghanistan that was like this. Yeah, this was the only way. We just had to knock him out and get him in.
Once he was down there, he was fine.
Right. Once he woke up, he seemed to be all right. He didn't freak out. Now, we just have to make sure to pull all the weapons off of Joe first. Are you okay with me doing that, Jose? And
No, I think that's wonderful. I thought it was pretty hilarious.
okay. I don't want to take advantage of your character.
So as you guys are kind of talking to each other, you see like the she kind of looks strung out. The strung out chick kind of like creeping her way over to Mouth's mom, and she's kind of like just looking at Mouth's mom's headgear that she has now, and they start talking amongst themselves about like the technology about it. Mouth's mom not knowing anything, of course, and this chick spitting all sorts of technical terms. Atlas turns to you for What is your plan? What would you like to do? I don't know how long you've all been here, but I'm sure you can't like being here.
You'd have to be crazy to like being here. So naturally, Joe loves this place. But you said you've been staking this station out for some time now.
Yes, that's correct.
So what kind of information do you got on it? How many people are there? What kind of resistance are we expecting? What kind of fortifications do they have? We need entry points and exit points.
And with this, he kind of like, there's like maybe like a burlap sack kind of hung on the wall from like a hook in the top. Yeah, basically a montage. He like pulls out his plans. He's showing you like entrance points. You know, it shows like Rex like hammering out some gear. You got Mouth like tinkering with something and tweaking something on the with pops on the car. You got, you know, Crazy Joe. It shows him with his grenades and like putting them in his pants. Everybody's doing, you know, you got someone like polishing their gun, you know, Mom looks down her weapon sights, giving you the lay of the land. And just to kind of elaborate it, it's a square building, like 2 glass doors, and from the inside there's like small offices and like the upstairs, one office and maybe a break room and like a large antenna at the top. And this is on like the far side of the island, pretty close. And with that kind of montage going on, we're going to take a 5-minute break and get right back to it. Unless anyone has anything else to say before we do that. Otherwise, you can feel free to get beverages, hit the John, whatever you got to do. For anybody that is tuning in the future, we got a couple of viewers today, but thank you for joining us on RWD. Hopefully you enjoy our stuff. Please check out my wonderful players' channels. Their link should be in the description of the video below. The system itself is a very loose narrative made by our very own Jeremy Lilly. There's multiple versions of it. And though they tend to be more lenient towards one-shots, we're trying out a multi-game session here to push the boundaries of that. And I'm of course happy to be one of the people that get to play it. So hopefully you guys are enjoying it, and if you feel the desire to try it out, get in contact with him. And I'm sure that someone will be back shortly.
I am back from outer space. Da, 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 with your mama's robotic face.
So do you miss playing Pops?
Do what?
Do you miss playing Pops?
Yeah, absolutely. I love his character. I love being able to be a crotchety old man. It's just a lot of fun. Oh man. I am ready to shoot some stuff and drive a car irresponsibly fast.
Somebody's banging some shit.
Yeah, my wife has not quite finished up housework tonight.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually in my bedroom closet at the moment because we had a breaker throw and I couldn't play from my usual spot because there's no lights in there currently. So she is actually working on the shower wall on the other side of this wall for me.
What we do to play.
You got a good woman there, Mr. Lilly.
You don't have to tell me.
She keeps him in line.
23. We've been together for 23 years. So I know
That's awesome. We're about to celebrate 27 years.
Awesome, man. Congrats.
You guys have been in relationships longer than I've been alive.
That's all right. We still think you're cool.
Oh, cool. It makes me feel really good.
I've always gotten along with people who are like the generation just below me. I guess because I grew up playing video games a lot more than most people in my generation. I just always kind of identified with people who were about 7 years younger than me, give or take. My sister's generation. A lot of my friends are her age. So
yeah, I think largely it's just my immaturity.
It definitely has something to do with it.
What's nice about AbTab is I get to play with people of like all different ages, and it's cool. I mean, I got into the hobby from my uncle, who was like 16 years older than me, but he was always kind of the big brother figure growing up to me, and so playing games with people older than me was never like I played my first D&D game when I was like 9, and it was with all people that were like 32, and I was solely monsters. I couldn't play characters. I was only allowed to be the monsters. Shut up, Philip.
Yeah,
You're not funny.
One of the groups that I play in is actually with my scoutmaster, who actually taught me to play, and they're all people his age. So I was actually the youngest person in the group until I started bringing a friend of mine to play with us. Those guys still rock first edition D&D, man.
Man, I can't 3.5.
I can't do first edition anymore. I've got some books, but I don't know. Because I started playing with the box with the dragon on it and all the adventures fanned out in front of it. I can't remember the name, but yeah, it was a 79 when we got it.
It's hard bouncing back and forth, man. Picking up Thaco and like just the way it's set up and stuff is just really counterintuitive to me now. It's just really strange.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't want to make the switch, so.
I seen someone posted like kids these days don't know about Thaco. It's like, yeah, I fall into that category.
I only knew about it because of like Baldur's Gate and games like that.
Yeah, a lot of stuff in first edition is like whether you want to roll high or low is dependent on what it is that you're rolling. So, and every single thing works on a different like mathematical scale. So it's a really, really convoluted thing to learn. So the later editions of D&D kind of helped streamline a lot of the understanding of the game, in my opinion.
See, I'm actually pretty thankful for 5e, just because, in my opinion, it was definitely more user-friendly, getting people into it. Because I always remember trying to like start a game when I was younger. It was always so difficult because I was the only one with books, or was the only one that had read anything. And 3.5 was like, here is, you know, a stack of 5 books that you need to know to accurately play. Yeah, 5e came around. We got the starter set, and a couple of buddies of mine had a night drinking. I was like, let's fucking play. Played for like 9 hours. Worst mistake of my life.
I was going to say, damn, I must have pissed off Dave.
I said something to make him mad.
But no, like I played first edition, I played second edition, I played third edition. I did not play fourth. And then I certainly have picked up fifth edition, and I love it a lot. All of the editions have kind of had some interesting things about them, and I think they did a really good job with fifth of kind of pulling most of those interesting things into one edition. It definitely feels kind of like a distillation.
Yeah, it seems like they, definitely clipped and trimmed the fat.
Mm-hmm.
Which
they took a lot of feedback from the community, which was brilliant, I think.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of videos with like high ups and wizards, and they seem like very intuitive and in touch with their the baby of D&D. So definitely my favorite system, but having the opportunity to experiment with more, it's broadened my horizons significantly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have made any of the Expedition Engine games if it hadn't been because of the other systems that I had been trying.
I talked a little bit about this with Jose and Philip, because in the last 10 months I've gone from playing D&D to a list of various systems, and I got a couple more that I want to try, Cypher and Genesis included. And I was like, Philip, I'm done buying systems. I don't need any more. And Philip's like, oh, but index card RPG is pretty good. I guess I gotta buy Index card RPG too, because it does look really good. It's a good one. That and Fiasco, those two are the ones up there that I don't have that I would like to get my hands on.
I got Fiasco, and I tried to get my home group to play it with me for 2 years, and nobody was interested. And finally, I suckered some people at AtCon last year into playing with me, and it was fantastic. I love that game.
Yeah, I've seen it pop up quite a few times more recently in AbTab, which is cool. Because not that I started so long ago, but a year ago, all I seen was D&D 5e. D&D 5e this, D&D 5e that. Now I'm starting to see, we're doing Fate with this one, or we're doing Cypher with this one, or Genesis, and I think that's cool.
Yeah,
like Sam. Go ahead.
No, sure.
Like Samuel Turna. He's kind of making like a very progressive headway in trying to push Fate into a new light, and his games are awesome. I had so much fun the other night.
Sam De Mercurio is a huge Fate and Fantasy Flight Star Wars proponent. He used to rail against 5th edition pretty hard.
He still does, but he's starting to be converted. Yeah. I really like playing with Sam. He's definitely someone I would like to play with more.
Yeah, play one of his Star Wars games. It was fun.
Oh man, I want to play a Star Wars game really
bad. And the thing that was crazy is like the object was we had to pretty much kill this like imperial governor, and I got a shot on him, but I didn't kill him. So near the end, like the whole game, I was rolling like good as fuck. The last shot, I like failed the fuck out of it. I got captured. I was like, no.
Awesome.
Yep, Star Wars is on the list of what I want to play. Cypher, Genesis, I want to try. I've got a few system books. It's like I've looked through and picked through them, but I haven't got to play them yet. And that's kind of the goal this year, is to actually utilize the money I spent on system books.
Do we want to wait until Dave gets back in here?
I think he
said he had to restart.
Yeah. We'll give him 3 minutes. And if he's not back in 3 minutes, we'll kind of get back into the intro of what's going to happen next.
3 minutes, Dave.
I got a little bit more. There'll definitely be some conflict coming up for you guys. Some scene setting. And then I have every intention of kind of wrapping this all up next session. So,
nice. Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
Finale.
And I wanted to. I know I said something to you earlier. Me and Philip talked about it. The proponent of like how this is kind of a hard system to campaign in.
For sure.
And I think that's for good reason. The simplicity and narrative base of the system kind of leans toward those spontaneous. You got a couple people. You can teach the system to them in 2 minutes and get playing.
Exactly. It was for those nights when everybody's sitting around going, well, what do you guys want to do? Like, well, I kind of feel like role playing or tossing some dice, but I don't want to spend an hour rolling up characters or an hour and a half, and then only getting to play for 2 or 3 hours.
Exactly. And I feel like if you were leaning more towards a campaign already, you would have the time to prepare those things. This was kind of just a string together kind of thing. And I mean, in a way, like I was talking to Philip, it's kind of just impromptu story building and world building, but not to be like this is the weak point of the system, but it's definitely not for campaigning, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, no, and I didn't really even have campaign play in mind at all whenever I built it. It's just the things that you can play, especially with it, are very niche.
Absolutely.
Ghostbusters, Masters of the Universe, stuff like that, where it's, I mean, I guess you could play a campaign in those things, but the system's just not really robust enough to keep long-term play interesting, I don't think.
True. Yeah, they're like Philip was saying, they're like you can't really progress your character.
Right.
And in the settings in terms of play, I mean, there really isn't any need to, because you're playing a mundane human. I just because I went to this location and did this thing doesn't mean I get a new skill now as a human. I don't know how to do this new thing just because. But the versatility is, I believe, the shining quality of the system, in my opinion. I mean, you put out I think it's 4, maybe 5 different versions, and they're all totally different, but there's only like 2 mechanics that are different, and they changed the whole system of play, which is really cool, especially once people catch on that this is an awesome system and start making their own and get off their asses.
I'm hoping to see that. That would be awesome. But yeah, it's just it's supposed to be simple and easy to do, to get a hold of and to learn, like you said. And that's really what I was wanting, was for it to be something that was simplistic, but something that you could have a lot of fun with by pushing it in different directions really easily.
So, well, I personally am having a blast running it and have had great experiences running it so far. So playing as well. I have great times playing it.
I'm glad to get the chance to play in it. This is the first time I've ever played, or the first game that I've ever played in the system. So it's nice to kind of see it from the other side. I'm enjoying it a lot.
Well, cool. And I'm glad I was the one that get to do that. So we are all back. And Dave, are you good to go? Camera, mic working good? Well.
Yep.
All right, cool.
I just wanted to restart because it kept freaking out on me.
Gotcha. Well, all right. So the party kind of fades in here to the montage coming to a conclusion. The back of the truck was loaded with the 50 cal that Rex has been carrying around. Is there any other kind of modifications or preparations you would like to do before going into this next task?
Is this truck armored at all?
I would say a little bit. There's probably like an internal roll cage, and it's by no means a legitimate installation. You know, garage modifications that they could have made while keeping the integrity of the vehicle intact.
What did through the montage, just kind of what did we learn as far as like what we're expecting from this place as far as numbers and resistance?
This place, for whatever reason, tends to be a little less popping in terms of activity, primarily just to like subtle actions by the production company and security or whatnot. There's the occasional prisoner that's kind of like a loner chilling out here, but from your experience here, there's not a lot of screen time out there. The building itself, what you know is there's definitely going to be some security there, just from what intel Atlas has gathered. Occasionally a caravan rolls in. You usually see, or he usually sees like the food caravans coming out of the garage of this place, which is why he believes, another reason why he believes that there's tunnels coming in, because not all of the food gets brought in via helicopter or dropped in cargo containers. I don't know if I nailed your question. Is there any specific questions you'd like to know about this place from the montage?
No, I think that probably gives me enough of a heads up as to what I was kind of wondering about what we're getting into here. Is there a fence around the place?
Part of it. Actually,
Okay.
yeah. No, there will be a fence, and it's kind of one of those like high fences with the circle barbed wire. And this is kind of one of those fences that doesn't necessarily installed because it's on a prison island. This was pre-existing. Just like a government building, not necessarily government building. They just don't want people fucking with this building, really.
Right. Do we think it's the kind of thing that we could probably just blow through the gate with this truck?
Oh, absolutely.
Cool. Okay.
Definitely not like military grade by any means. And in my mind, this place is kind of in like a, not necessarily suburban, but more like a business district of a suburban area. You guys are well outside like the main Haven city limits. This has become the more rural, like I tried to explain in the last session.
Okay. Cool.
So a few buildings here and there, maybe on like it's on like a main road off a highway or something. Not necessarily industrial park, but like I said, business E. So there's broken down buildings and stuff around it.
I think I'm ready to go.
So as the five of you, including Atlas, load into the car, you see Mouse Mom kind of look to step in, and the five of you taking up all the seats kind of look at her. Unless, was one of you going to ride in the back? I don't necessarily want to force the mounting of the 50 cal, but I don't think it'd fit inside the cab.
Rex offers her to sit in his lap, but then he looks at Mouth's face, and he just kind of quietly gets out of the car and goes to the back of the car to get in the 50 caliber mount.
So probably with the apprehension of the group, she hops in as well. The chick kind of maintaining that she's going to be staying here.
Mouth, you want your mother to come with us on this very dangerous mission?
Mouth will look over at the half robotic face and kind of see, I'm expecting something like puppy dog eyes, and I'll say, yeah, sure, she can come, why not? Make sure you pack some sandwiches, Ma.
And with that, she like hands you like the curled up paper sack with like mouth written on it in black felt tip marker, and she like sets it on your lap, and then shoulders her sniper rifle that she has acquired from somewhere and kind of hops in the back and settles down. Okay, dearies, I'm ready to go.
I ain't ever gonna get used to this shit. He's gonna put it in drive and peel out.
And with the back tires kicking up rocks, you guys peel out and head in the direction of this radio tower. And it doesn't take you guys very long to get there. And like I said, from the intel with Atlas, and he's kind of pointing the locations out that he was explaining to you. It's kind of on a main road on the north side of the road. You guys are coming from the east. There's like broken down fast food places, like a mattress warehouse, a bookstore, any kind of business that would have not necessarily been in the city, just to keep this part of the town active. And the only one lit up on the entire street, and there's like big spotlights on the corners. There's spotlights on the radio tower. You can see kind of like an armed guard in the distance. Hasn't paid attention to you yet. You guys are still a ways off.
Pops kind of looks in the rearview mirror at this robotic face, and he says,
You got a silencer on that piece, ma'am?
And she kind of like, I thought the plan was to ram the gate. I didn't think much about the sound of the gun.
Fair enough. Well, there's a pigeon up there in that roost. Would you mind?
and he kind of points to the guard in the tower.
And she kind of like slow. The window kind of slowly rolls down in the back seat, and she kind of like props herself up in the window and mounts it on top of the car. And everyone's kind of in awe as she's doing this, I picture, because she kind of like is very slow and shaky. And I've kind of given you guys the impression that she's old, but she's probably 50s, still relatively spry. And she levels this sniper rifle on top of the car, and with a clean just and like reload, this guy kind of like falls very far and like hits the ground, and the guy standing at the door kind of like looks over and is like looking around, and she kind of gets back in the car. There you go. Stows the gun right next to her.
I think Joe would be like, holy fuck, she's gonna kill us all.
Fucking Skynet, man.
Nice shot, Ma.
Okay, kids, let's go.
Mal, your mother is a very talented woman.
And I don't know if you can tell, but she's blushing.
The chrome
And
the chrome of her metal skull turns pink.
It's like a Japanese cartoon where it's like the red slanted lines appear over the metal. She like slowly rolls up the window. Maybe it would be better if and she's like pointing to like the roof of a building.
Yes.
Maybe it would be better if I go up there and watch over you boys.
No, just keep firing from where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, she can do that. She can ride out the side of this window and take off guys as you pass.
I mean, whichever way is best, but I think that if we stay together, that's best, right? Don't split the party. Because
she's not really
coming
party.
with us.
Okay,
she's coming with us.
Okay, she's coming with you.
Mm-hmm.
So this guard has fallen from his perch, kind of like halfway up the watchtower, television tower. The guard's kind of like checking him, seeing if he can like look around and see you. And I'm gonna say you guys are like just around the corner with your lights off, so that he can't like. Oh, there they are. So what is your plan of attack? Atlas is kind of smiling with his broken teeth from the other side of the car than Mouth Smother.
Well, what did he say that we needed to take out first?
There's probably 2 or 3 guards around the exterior of this building and the one in the post. Occasionally trucks come and go, but that's not really on a schedule. So, I mean, after the guys on the outside, it's just a matter of the people on the inside.
I guess we only see one additional guard at the moment. He's the one that's checking on the one that she shot.
Correct. And at this point, he's probably like leaning up and like reaching over to what you would assume is talking to like a walkie-talkie. You maybe even hear like the audible like beep.
Yeah,
I would imagine that, not to cut you off, but I would imagine that Rex sees that and has the range to actually unload on him with the 50 caliber, right?
I would 100% assume that.
So best to just keep things as quiet as possible, and at least from our vantage point.
Granny looks at you. You got a silencer for that?
No, ma'am.
Nothing says quiet like a 50 cal.
Right? Let me get my stats up. All right. So this is
I would say force.
We're trying to control the situation.
Control, yeah.
393.
Honestly, if anyone can control a 50 cal, it's Rex. What is your control stat?
9.
So 1 on the dot, and then 2 or 3 successes total.
Yep.
So write down your other point, and I think that puts you at 4 total.
Okay.
So 1 more, and you get a care package. But yeah, you hear like the clicks of the gun as you rotate it on the mount, and the wind up of the. Actually, I don't know if it has a wind up. That's a Gatling gun. Yeah, you hear like the shells start flying and hitting the bed of the truck as you pepper the side of this building. And this guy who was reaching for his walkie-talkie kind of turns into a red mist and tumbles over onto the body of the guy he was checking on.
Yeah, and Rex smells the bullets being expended, and definitely becomes the moment as he is entering that.
What would be driver Pops, what do you want to do? And Crazy Joe and Mouth, what is your current position? I imagine, obviously, everyone's still in the car, but
Crazy Joe would be like digging in his bag, trying to like see what he could pull out, and he would pull out the what is it called, the fire extinguisher he had earlier, and it had like duct tape grenades to it. So he's just getting ready to like toss that whenever the opportunity happens.
it seems counterintuitive. It's gonna put the flames out that cause. Nonetheless. Okay, perfect. Mouth, are you making any special preparations before Pops does his Pops thing?
Nope, just bracing myself for Pops to do it, and then I'll probably hop out, use the door as like kind of a shield.
Okay, so Pops, there's still the flimsy kind of gate here in front of you. The two lumped over corpses on the other side. What does it exactly look like as we enter the premises?
So Pops is going to kind of pull it around the other car that we were kind of parked behind for partial cover, and is going to once again just put pedal to the metal, driving this huge, beautiful white pickup truck straight for this chain link fence gate. And I think just as we get there, as we're kind of approaching, Pops actually spies a tow truck, one of those flatbed tow trucks where the flatbed part is actually kicked back and down. And he kind of looks over at Crazy Joe and kind of gives him a wink, and then kind of drifts over towards that tow truck. And then he just hits that tow truck ramp just at full speed and jumps it towards the gate.
What are them hazard boys up to now? So as you do this, you like, I don't picture it as it like the full ramp. It's like the two individual tire lanes. So you hit one, and as you like go into the air, you can see like the one guy with his M16 running around the corner to see what all the humbug is about, and like as you guys are kind of flipping through the air, he's shooting with no avail, and I even picture like Rex holding himself to the truck completely by force of strength against the 50 cal is actually firing back at this guy as you guys tear through the air, and you are brought to a stop as you tear through the gate, because you go so far as to land inside like the second floor of this building. There's probably about 20 feet in between the gate and like the drive that would turn around to go around the building, and you guys cleared this and have like wedged yourself in the second floor of this building, easily compromising the structural stability of the tower, which is now starting to teeter back and forth as the supports of one of the legs has crumbled. But luckily, the cab itself has made it in, leaving just the 50 cal and Rex outside. So about halfway.
Yeah, and Rex is spinning around, and he's basically shooting at those who are returning fire.
Give me a control or force. And this is to kill the two guys. Like the one guy had run up and was firing at you. You were firing at him, and like the other guy had ran around the corner finally. So you're attacking both of them. But yeah, force or control of 3 die.
So I think in this case I'm using force, but my rank is 7, and I got a 1, a 0, a 10, and a 9.
Was it 1 success or 2?
That's 1.
So I think that as you are flying through the air shooting these guys, you still manage to kill them both. But unfortunately, the guy running around the corner second had a little bit clearer shot at you, and he managed to take hold. So go ahead and roll me a d10, and if it's a 1 or 2, we'll drop that to a d8. So even though this guy had managed to fire at you, the bullet didn't take hold into flesh, but it had definitely wedged itself into the bandoiler of bullets that you had been feeding into the 50 cal, and essentially wedged itself in like the draw. So your 50 cal isn't firing anymore.
Yeah, with the sputter of a curse, Rex basically says, "It's fucking dead. Unless I'm going to pound each fucking bullet." That was the mounted one, right? We still have another one, right?
No, that was kind of the same one.
Okay.
And
Sure.
if it makes any difference, we were kind of running low on ammo with that guy anyway. It's been,
yeah,
it seems to muse.
So he starts climbing forward through the car.
You see Granny, or not Granny. Oh, damn it. Mount's mom kind of like shaking, like, I think I would have rather stayed on the building, and like opens the door and kind of like uses the rifle to help herself out.
So Pop's kind of like has leaned back in his seat, probably leaning against Crazy Joe as he's using the heel of these spurred cowboy boots to like kick at his door because it's bent just enough that it won't open easily. So he's kind of like trying his best to kind of kick this door open, seeing if he can't get out.
You said your door was stuck. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's kind of just stuck a bit, and he's kind of leaning back, kicking it, trying to open it.
Go ahead and give me a strength roll with 2 die.
Okay, so I got my force is a 6, and I got a 3 and a 9, so that's 1 success.
So I think that kind of just single die success is why you have to kick the door open in the first place. For the most part, you know, Pops has a good idea, like pressure points in cars to prevent stuff like this from happening. And this is just a bit more tricky than you anticipated. Maybe like the paneling is kind of forced together, and it takes a little bit of doing to get the door open.
Yeah, Crazy Joe is just gonna like try to go through the window. He's probably like like crawling all over the top of mouth just to get by, accidentally like elbowing him and shit.
Mouth is like getting crowded out by Big Rex and Crazy Joe, and he's just like, "Oh, get off of me, guys! Come on!" And like trying to push Joe out of the window. And
Mouth can't get his seatbelt off.
Yeah,
You didn't say no last time.
But now that you guys are inside this building, it's kind of like what part isn't destroyed by this Ford, whatever kind of Ford it was, has blown into the side of the wall. So there's kind of, the debris and like shattered glass and lights that are broken. But like down the hall, lights are still on, and kind of in front of you, the lights are still on. And among the rubble falling and the dust settling, you hear the sound of boots on stairs coming up and around the corner to your right, so to the east.
Give him a flashbang, Joe.
You will see Joe like start putting his hand down his pants, like grabbing the grenades from there, and then he would pull out a flashbang. He'd be like, "Everybody turn around," and he would just toss it.
And like right as the guy comes around the corner, I'm gonna need you to give me a flare, given the type of grenade, or control.
I'll do flare. How many dice you want me to roll?
Roll 2. And is this just a flashbang, or is this the fire extinguisher bomb?
No, it's a flashbang. I got 2 successes, and one says
All right, so
a number.
So go ahead and take a point. I don't remember how many you were at. But like right as this guy comes around the corner and you threw this grenade, it kind of like hits him in the nose, and he like glances back, and the bright flash and loud bang of this grenade goes off right in his face, and you see like him tumble back, screaming as he goes, and like you can't hear it, but there's like honestly, you guys probably can't hear shit right now. But he kind of like falls back down in the stairwell.
Then Joe would like scream like, "I bet he just smelled the under cheese."
Tramunda.
These nuts.
These.
What kind of a room is it that we're in currently?
It's actually kind of like a hallway next to a conference room. I picture like there's a stairwell, like I said, to you guys' right, that kind of comes up out of you, turns towards you, the long hallway. You're looking down, and you guys are kind of like in the corner. So there's another hallway in front of you that's kind of shorter, and you can kind of see like 2 double doors there that lead into whatever room is on the other side of this wall that you didn't pierce.
And the conference room that we're beside, like, can we see? Is there like a big table in it?
I would say that there's probably like a pane of glass with like the shutters that like hotel shutters, like the long thin ones.
Mm-hmm.
Those are open, and yeah, there's like a long coffee table with some seats, and probably some like coffee cups and papers and shit that you probably wouldn't expect to be there if this place was abandoned. Coffee. There's coffee on the table.
Do we still hear people coming?
Yeah, but there's coffee on the table.
I'm gonna say for the moment, you really can't hear a whole lot of anything, just with the ringing still.
So Pops is gonna be pointing at the table and yelling at Rex, and nobody can really hear what he's saying. And Pops can't even hear his own voice, but he's pointing towards that big table, and then he's gonna start moseying over there to see if he can't lend a hand and maybe tumping it over onto its side, forming a barricade.
Yeah, and misunderstanding what he said, before everyone gets out of the car, he's clawed his long body out of the car, and he pulls a grenade and throws it into the room.
Into the conference room. So as I'm actually going to say that this pane of glass is probably broken just from the force of the impact of the truck. So as you like throw the grenade into this room, you see a guy in like business casual like peek up and like look down at the grenade and go to run, and the flash of the grenade goes off. The table kind of like gets sent flipping conveniently in a barricade style towards the steps, and you see like pieces of this guy painting the wall behind him where he was.
That's fucking art right there. That's fucking art.
Meanwhile, Pops is screaming, "What are you doing? You're blowing things up. I was just about to be standing there, you oaf."
And you say I'm crazy.
Jeez,
Crazy
Reginald,
Joe.
take it easy.
Yeah, and Rex actually snaps a look at Mouth like he doesn't even say a word. It's just like that look that's on my image right there. It's like, don't even.
Everybody gets one.
So imagine like Pops runs over to this conference table and like crouches down behind it, intending on using it for cover with his two machine guns, his submachine guns, and he realizes that there's a massive chunk blown out of the table from where the grenade impact had like eaten up part of this table. And he kind of shakes his head and just kind of gets up and moves like 3 feet over and kneels down in front of that part.
So as you guys kind of hop out and bunker around behind this table, and Mouth's mom does the same. Atlas, on the other hand, he does not. He kind of does the opposite of Dave and climbs back outside. And he's kind of looking around at the terrain outside, and he, without any kind of word to any of you, kind of springs off this this opening with hammer in hand and disappears to ground level. So as of now, you guys are bunkered behind this table. The sound and your vision finally returning to hopefully its normal sense. And you haven't seen anyone come back up that stairwell yet.
All right, what's the plan here, Pops?
I don't know. The crazy fellow with the hammer just decided to go bananas on the people downstairs. So I guess anybody that gets by him and comes up these stairs, we do what we do best and make sure they don't get back up. After that, I don't really know. We're looking for some kind of tunnels, so I guess we're gonna have to start working our way down into the belly of this beast before too much longer. I think we should probably wait it out for the moment, though.
All right.
And for a moment, it's no. Was someone gonna say something?
No, Rex was going to say, our moment is now. And he goes and flings the door open, and he goes open and he pops another grenade and throws it down the hall outside the door as he stands against the wall as the grenade blows up in the hallway.
Let me get a force roll. 3.
652, and my force roll is 7.
So yeah, as you kind of whip this grenade into the hall, it just guides right through the opening of the door and hits the wall and sends itself flying down the staircase from where these guards were coming. And Whereas up until now, you had heard nothing after the flashbang. You hear the "oh shit, fuck" as the floor on the far side of the conference room kind of explodes out, hitting the table that is protecting you, revealing the stairwell on the other side, and the same bloody art that Rex is going to be able to be known for paints this wall as well.
And I start saying, "Move, move, move."
Well, I guess we better start going then before he starts painting the walls with our innards.
Yeah, finish that coffee before you go.
The single mug of coffee that was left unharmed.
We're about to go down into an underground tunnel. I really do not think it's wise for me to have a cup of coffee at this moment. That coffee will shoot straight through me, and it will not be pleasant for anyone else around.
I tell you, you guys are kind of exiting this room down to the hallway staircase.
Yeah.
All right, so who's taking the lead here? Rex?
I can do that.
Yeah, if Rex is yelling, move, 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 Mouth will kind of fall in right behind him.
And if he can, he's going to try to pick up a firearm off of one of the guards since he doesn't necessarily have one on him currently.
What kind of firearm would you like?
Well, I would imagine they have like an
They
AR-15.
all have standard issue like AR-15 or an M16 or maybe even
so I
an
pick one of those
AK-47.
up and check the clip, and then I reach down and grab a couple clips off the guy and shove it in my parachute pants. My my pants with bags with
Stop. Hammer time.
The ever-evolving image of Rex in my mind never ceases.
And I bust a move right there on the stairwell.
What are those pants that are they're like super bright zebra print, and they have like the ankles are real tight, but they all balloon out real big. Oh God, what the hell are those called? Z's.
That is exactly what Rex is wearing.
They were huge with weightlifters. Weightlifters wore those all the time.
Weightlifting pants.
There is comfy pants.
No, he's wearing cargo pants, but yeah, he shoves a couple of the, so he has, he can reload. And he starts moving down the stairs.
Yeah, just want to grab one of the rifles too, so that way he's not just like chucking grenades all day.
And as you guys kind of move towards this this door, you see Mouth's mom go back towards where the truck was balancing, and it's starting to give way and fall out, really leaving this massive hole. And she kind of walks over and places her rifle on like some of the edge of the debris, if you will. And she's, as you can see, firing at different targets. And she calls out, "We got some bogeys, boys, but no worries." And like, I got them.
You keep hammering away, Ma.
And as you guys kind of come up to this, stairway, hallway going down, there's kind of parts of it missing, still navigatable. You get down there. I assume you guys are just going straight down. Yeah, there's a riot shield there if you would like it. Philip, you said something, or I think it was Philip. No, Jeremy, you said they were armored. Yeah, they kind of have like a standard issue military riot squad gear on. Maybe not standard issue anymore.
Yeah, I think how many of them were there?
Probably about 5 or 6.
Yeah, I think Pops is going to actually make everybody stop for just a moment at least, and at least take off the flak jackets, and Pops is going to put on one of the helmets as well, and then he's going to pick up that riot shield.
Yeah, absolutely. I say that this was outdated riot gear. I'm gonna retcon that. This is actually like very modern, like Kevlar lined and light plates rather than the heavy flak jackets that you were used to when you first got here. This is their weapons, barring the few you managed to grab, are mostly destroyed, but also in very good condition here on CADIAN'S.
Yeah, Joe would probably like start stripping for a second, taking everything off and put all this like SWAT type gear that they have on, grabbing his grenades again.
Ho, ho, ho. What are you doing, man?
Change it, man. Just look away, man. I know you like this shit, but still.
Pops is going to kind of heft this like clear acrylic bulletproof shield kind of out in front of him, kind of look at it a little bit.
This is some pretty hardcore gear. This looks pretty spanking new. I think maybe Atlas might be onto something.
Yeah, fuck that guy. We're getting out of here.
Yes, it's colorful as always, Rex. I appreciate your commentary.
Rex
So as you guys
changing his own Kevlar vest real quick, and then moving quickly to move forward. He's leading the charge.
So as you get to yes, virtual. It's like zipped up the sides so they fit. Yeah, as you guys get to the bottom of the stairs, you see Atlas kind of fucking making his way in through the front door. A guy kind of like going to hit him with the butt of the gun, and he's coming over his head with a sledgehammer. This guy becomes jello real quick through his helmet. And he kind of like looks to you guys and like notions toward this hallway, kind of around the corner from you. And as you approach, you see it's like a stairwell that leads down, down and away from the building, as if it goes underground somewhere else. And he kind of, not the direct route I would have chosen, but a direct route nonetheless. He kind of like hefts his hammer back up onto his shoulder. All right, boys, this is make or break time.
And Rex grabs another grenade and pops the pin on it, but holds it in his hand with the rifle in his other hand as he prepares to go down and lead the charge.
Is there anybody else doing anything before we head down to this mysterious corridor?
Joe's gonna grab his makeshift fire extinguisher bomb and just hold it in his hand, so like overhead, so that way he gets ready to toss it if he has to.
And as you guys just start to descend the stairwell, and it goes down probably, I guess I said it's a corridor. It goes down into a corridor that ends into a stairwell that goes down probably about 3 or 4 stories. And as you get to the stairwell, you can see soldiers running up from like floors 2 and 3.
Rex is going to wait till a vantage point, and he's just going to drop the grenade so that it clatters down to the oncoming soldiers that are coming toward them.
And I'm not even going to make you roll for that. It's just kind of like dropping it over the edge. You can see them running, and it's like maybe it like hits off one of their shoulders and explodes like right next to them. And the stairwell you're in comparison to the rest of the buildings and things you've seen, it is very comparable to like the safe house from the beginning of last session. Very new age material, new designs, very like ergonomic and not from CADIAN'S that you're used to. And even though you dropped a grenade and it managed to blow up some of these guys, the structure itself seems to be undamaged.
Keep moving.
Well, yes, there are explosions happening in front of us. I wonder how that keeps happening. So maybe there could be a small amount of patience as we're trying to pick our way through these dead bodies and rubble.
Well, I'm glad you didn't drink any of that coffee.
You and me both.
There might be some more explosions.
My prostate issues are something that should not be brought up in this moment. I don't think it's proper.
I think I hear something.
It's probably just my back.
That is the sound of my bladder relieving itself. So as you guys, there's the splatter from the guys that you just blown up moments before, the undamaged stairwell. There doesn't appear to be any more guys coming up the stairs, but you're about halfway down. Is it safe to assume that you are going to finish your descent, or is there anything you would like to do in the meantime?
Yeah, I think Pops is going to press forward, but he's going to try to put himself up front to try to use this shield as best he can as a protected barrier.
And as Atlas rolls up to one of the remains of these guards, he picks up a shield, a riot shield himself, and kind of shield in one hand and hammer in the other. And he kind of like clicks them together and looks to you, Pops. And it's about as medieval to himself, and follows you guys as you carry around down to the bottom. And there's a short hallway, one door or a corridor breaks off to your right. You see like the men and women sign of a restroom. It's like two swinging doors in front of you.
Another grenade?
It certainly puts the doors open.
Actually, Rex looks back and says, "Gas mask's on," and he grabs a tear gas. And he pops one of the tear gas canisters and throws it into the room.
So there's like two portholes on the doors, and you can kind of see like the smoke billow up. And it kind of makes it hard to see into the room. And whereas like before throwing the grenade through these portholes, it was kind of just like a large open space that you couldn't really see either side of. And like the smoke is billowing up, and you guys have your gas mask on, if I'm not mistaken. So you guys kick the doors open. This gas is kind of wafting into the large room, and you hear some people like choking on the other side of this gas cloud.
Like we probably press inside. Still with the shield held up. He's got Pops has got his one of his submachine guns out of its holster and kind of over the side of the riot shield here. And he's just going to start peppering guys as he sees them.
And I'm going to say you actually start firing even before you see anybody, just to kind of start the process of clearing the room. And you hear a lot of like clinking on metal, not necessarily like a ricochet or anything, just a lot of like solid impacts. You hear like maybe one or two different voices like screech out in pain. But among all the chaos, the five of you, Atlas included, recognizes one of the voices. you son of a bitch! Just get him! Get him! Get him! And instantaneously in your mind that motherfucker Archie Shaw is in this room.
Yeah, Pops is definitely going to be turning his spray of bullets in that direction.
Pops, you're going to be spraying in his general direction. Is there anybody else that would like to kind of get what they're doing out there before we start making rolls?
I want to throw my makeshift bomb that way.
Okay, absolutely. Anybody else?
I'll be yelling at my ma to fire at Archie as I fire away also.
Rex actually enters the room and kind of shifts to the left and starts scanning the room for targets based on what he's seeing, and prepares a shot based on, you know, what he can see within the tear gas.
So, as of right now, this gas is kind of getting actually sucked up into the vents at the top of the room. And like you feel almost like a breeze coming in from the ground, as you can see like floor vents now. Something that would recycle the air down here. And this is like almost like gymnasium sized room. And the half that you could see was fairly sparsely furniture, maybe a couple tables or like a filing cabinet. But like as you start to see the other side, you actually can see like a tunnel with like a boat that can get out, escape. There's like a sewage or something that this boat can escape. And that's actually where Archie's running to. I have it over here. It's actually on the right side of the room, in my mind, where Pops is kind of laying his fire. You can see like a makeshift barricade of like what was an old office table and some like machinery, surgical equipment and such. There's actually like the body of an inmate one of you might recognize, like half dismembered, with some like wiring and shit attached to his arm. And in the very far side of the room is this large object that's kind of tarped off.
Definitely concentrating in the direction of Archie, or at least where it sounds like he's coming from.
Okay, so I'm going to want a speed roll from you, Jeremy, a flare roll from you, Jose, speed roll from you as well, Philip, and a control roll from you, Dave. Everyone gets 2 dice.
Well, I think that based on what's presented before me, I'm going to go for the tarp. Not to say that I don't want to kill Archie, but it seems like it's important.
Were you just shooting at the tarp?
No, I wanted to go see what was under it.
Gotcha. So, Philip, I'm going to get to you last. But Pops vendetta for a long time coming. So as soon as you hear his voice, your aim goes to him, and gun doesn't necessarily have the ray at a distance. You see him like falls into this boat and like into the seat and kind of revs it to life and tries to take off. Jose says I'm sounding a bit robotic. Am I still good?
You're good now.
Yeah, I was getting a lot of lag from you just a second ago, but you seem to have cleared up.
Okay. Did you catch all of what I said? You had hit Archie?
Yeah, I think he got hit, but didn't look like it was necessarily fatal, and he fell into the boat and then gunned it.
He hasn't gunned it yet. He's still trying to, putter it to life here.
Gotcha.
Dave, you have crossed for the most part this it's not necessarily, I said gymnasium earlier. It's probably about 50 by 50. It's a fairly large room. Managed to get over to, and before you pull it off, I will resolve Jose and Philip, who, Jose, you had thrown this fire extinguisher bomb, if I'm not mistaken. And for some reason, it doesn't detonate by itself. A pin lever. But it is an excellent position for this explosion. The few guards that remain, this lands like right in the middle of it. Philip, you actually managed to shoot it accidentally. And unfortunately, the shrapnel of the exploding canister whips out a large chunk of metal. Go ahead and roll me your D10 4 times.
Like 4 individual, or can I roll them all at once?
Roll them at once, because if you get a 1 or 2 on the first one, we'll drop it down to an 8.
4.
Okay, it's the first success.
6.
Still good.
6. 5.
All right, so I try to make the game fucking hard for you guys, and you still get out just fucking fine. But for the sake of the story, though you were not like irreparably damaged, a large chunk of metal does manage to kind of slice its way through your arm, leaving kind of like a wound. But by no means fatal or deterring from your goal.
I yell out a scream.
And, behind you, you can see Granny. Every shot that she has made has landed with critical success. And she doesn't really say anything. She doesn't give a happy emotion to it or a sad emotion to it. It's very mechanical on how she's doing this. And finally, Dave, you make it to this tarped off thing. And as you remove the tarp, a large behemoth of iron and wiring and all sorts of just machinery hodgepodge put together is the almost reminiscent humanoid form of some sort of giant monster. Giant. This thing's probably about 8 or 9 feet over, and it's humanoid looking, but it looks to be like made out of like cast off car parts and like various things found on the island. Doesn't look as very high tech as everything else does.
I think the first. Oh, go ahead.
Do I have time to put the gun to its head?
Absolutely.
Yep, and pull the trigger.
And as you do so, it is actually, go ahead and roll your damage die. Great. So a D10.
10.
So though you're at close range, this bullet strikes the what would be head, and it dents the faceplate quite heavily, but the bullet kind of ricochets off and embeds itself. And with that, you see like the slits for its eyes kind of like flicker on, and like the steam kind of like, and like the rev of an engine and like the smoke of the exhaust kind of, as this thing kind of like sits up and its legs kind of readjust, and it to where it is now standing 12 to 14 feet tall. Huge behemoth.
Yeah, Joe would be like, holy fuck.
Yeah, Pops is kind of watching as Archie seems like he's going to be getting away, and he's like, "No, you small-minded little bastard, you get back here!" And he's kind of shuffling after him, firing his submachine gun, kind of having let the riot shield not fall to the ground, but at least fall down by his side, and he's just firing, laying on the trigger of this automatic submachine gun after Archie.
Give me a speed, but with one die.
Okay, my speed is a 3, and I got a 5, so it's 1 success.
So as you're firing, you manage to get the one shot in on him before. You don't exactly make again, but you feel it that you hit the engine of this boat, and as he's trying to get it to go, it does go, but it doesn't fly down this tunnel as fast as you would think it would. Maybe you see like the gas kind of leaking out of the back, but Archie takes off with that final parting shot.
I think Pops like turns around to kind of chastise the rest of the group for letting him get away, for not also shooting at him.
Why in the hell are the rest of... What in the name of God?
As he kind of sees this monstrosity coming to life.
I'm just curious, as this thing is starting to rise, can Rex throw his rifle, behind him because it's on his shoulder strap, and start climbing the thing as it starts to rise?
I would say absolutely.
And as he does so, he starts pulling a grenade to drop down into it.
So go ahead and give me a control.
And while he's climbing on that, Mouth will remember the rope and grappling hook that he grabbed from the safe house a while ago. And he'll throw his gun down, grab the rope and grappling hook out of the bag, and try to like toss it on one of the arms that might be trying to grab Rex as he's getting up and like to restrain it.
Give me a either knowledge or instinct roll, whichever's better. 2 dice.
Two successes, a 2 and 4.
So perfect. In tandem, you guys are both kind of Like you see mouth kind of grappling, hooking around. You say you wanted to outrun his arm.
Yeah, I imagine like if he's going to like reach for Rex, then I want to grab that arm and like hold it back from reaching for Rex.
Okay, so in my mind, you guys looking at him, Rex is climbing up his right side, and he's going with his left arm to reach for it. So you managed, grapple his left arm and trying to hold it down. It is taking every bit of strength in your body to try and like stop this thing, and it's still managing to get some leeway on you. But Rex is managing to successfully like climb to the top and pull a grenade. Crazy Joe, is there anything you would like to add to fighting this Titan?
I think Joe would like, because he got his gun, but he's like, fuck, they're on top of it. He would look up Pops and he'd be like, Pops, what do I do? What do I do? Like freaking out and shit.
Try to damage this thing. Maybe his legs. Take the legs out from underneath of him so he's not as mobile.
And hearing that, he would probably run and try to see if there's any wiring that he could like pretty much like pull out or damage with his golf club.
Go ahead and give me. I'm actually going to say either knowledge or instinct on that one.
I'll go with instinct. And is it okay, cool. I got 2 successes.
So yeah, you managed to like hit one of the panels off his leg, revealing some like servos in the knee. Dave, you were dropping a grenade on him. How did you want to do that?
So I'm thinking that as this thing started to rise, Rex basically just grabbed onto him and started to rise with him. So he's around his shoulders, and he kind of popped one of the grenades in his teeth. And then basically, I'm thinking that it's a mechanical construct, so it probably has like shoulder bones where basically he could drop it into its rib cage, and he does that.
You're muted.
You see this grenade kind of like lodge in place by what would be its like collarbone. And I imagine you want to jump off after that.
Yeah, and as I do so, I see Crazy Joe, and I say, "Jump! Jump!"
Doug, you son of a bitch. You might even land on him, like as you are coming off, and you see like this thing kind of finally lumbering to its full height, and it like gets blown up, and a large chunk of this is like it's like I want to say pauldron. It's not really a pauldron. Shoulder covering kind of gets blown apart from its head. And at this point, it kind of like whips itself a little bit to kind of readjust its neck and kind of stand up at full force. Jose, Crazy Joe, and both Rex are standing next to it. And for the sake of this bout of damage, I'm going to automatically drop you down to a D8. Just sheer impact of this monster doesn't even really give you a chance to avoid it being in such close proximity. So he kind of his flailing to this damage kind of tosses you back a good 20 feet. 20 feet's too much. Good 8 feet. And while this is kind of coming to a conclusion, you see about as fast as he can run with the riot shield in his left arm, sledgehammer in the other. Atlas is charging at this guy. And as he does so, the behemoth kind of brings his fist back and swings it at him. In a last-ditch effort to kind of get close, he throws up the riot shield to catch the arm, and with the other hand, he swings the hammer as hard as he can at the spot that was just blown up. And he smacks this thing in the face, kind of dislodging the helmet that was protecting whatever inside. But at the in the process, this arm kind of finishes its swing, basically shattering the riot shield, and with it, the form of Atlas behind it. He is ragdolled, kind of across the floor, arm a bloody pulp. But as you turn your vision back to this colossus, the head that is inside this behemoth, kind of a pale, sickly blue, half dead, decaying almost, kind of with wires and different kinds of tubing going into it. It's the lieutenant, or what remains of him.
If you guys are okay with it, Rex is going to, as he lands and sees the bloody pulp of Atlas, he runs over to him and pulls off one of the tourniquets that he has on his legs, and he wraps it around Atlas's upper arm and then wrenches it down so that the blood loss is staved off for the time being.
Can I get an instinct or knowledge? And I'll give you 3. Your character was in the military. This is something he would know. Thank you,
So,
Dave.
Yeah, I've got a 6-3 and an 8. My knowledge is a 5. So
Success.
2 successes, 1 failure.
So you know enough to staunch the bleeding, but you haven't really ever seen someone's arm kind of like jellied like this. It's not like it like blew up, but literally every bone inside this part of his arm is shattered. There's like no structure to it whatsoever. You are managed to kind of staunch the bleeding, get it, secured so he's not just fucking filling with blood in this, destroyed limb. Something that will have to definitely be amputated in the future. And he is effectively knocked out from this blow that kind of just swept across his body. What would Mouth, Crazy Joe, and Pops be thinking / doing, seeing this ghost up before them?
Crazy Joe's probably just gonna be like, what the fuck, and just slowly raise his gun and start shooting it in the face.
I'm gonna say that is instinct. Maybe 1 die.
I got a success.
All right, so yeah, you're just kind of spraying into this thing, and it's kind of damaged now. That it's been blown up and the helmet removed. You see like some of the fluids or whatever that are powering some of the internal whatever kind of springing leaks at this point. Wow, what are you up to?
I guess I will. So, is the rope still attached to its arm, or was that blown off?
No, it's still attached.
Okay, I want to try to circle it then.
I'm gonna
like
say
bind it up.
Yeah, I gotcha. Speed or force, maybe?
Okay.
So, like, quickly, you know.
Yeah, I'll go with speed. 1.
Yes.
Ooh, 10.
That's a success.
Yes.
But yeah, so you're able to, like, maybe even, like, as its swing finished, kind of like putting its arm across its body, you kind of use that to your advantage to get one loop around it. And not that it can't pull you, being that it's made of, you know, it's a machine, it could, just kind of like it can't get full force retraction with its hydraulics in the current position and how it's being held.
So you said that it was okay if there was a forklift in this room. Maybe they were using it to load and offload things from these boats that they're kind of bringing in.
Absolutely.
So I think like Pops has found it. You know, the one drivable piece of equipment in his room that's kind of left behind, and Pops, of course, has found it. So he's kind of like meet me, meet me. You know, that little pathetic horn that they have, and he's kind of like turning it. Move out of the way! Here I come! And he's, you know, moving, but with the speed of a forklift, so not super fast. So he's kind of coming in, and he's got like a crate that's kind of still on the forks, and he's just going to ram the forks as high as he can get them into this thing's, you know, lower abdomen or whatever. And I think if he does hit, like the crate just smashes, and there's just like canned goods or something that just like spill out all over the place.
I'm going to say that that is a speed roll, and you can have 3 since it's within your realm of expertise.
Okay, so my speed's a 3. I got a 2, a 3, and a 9. So that's 2 successes, one of which is my number. So that gives me 3 points. But 2 successes total.
Correct. So you do just as you describe. It's like a big wooden crate on a pallet. And like Philip has its kind of arm held to one side. It's not really looking at you until it's too late, and the crate full force hits its body and its overturned shoulder, kind of toppling it, as you guys are saying in the chat, AT-AT style. And it kind of like falls on itself in a position that would be hard to upright.
Yeah, if at all possible, he's going to kind of wheel the forklift around and actually bring the forklift down kind of on top of whatever's, you know, close enough that he can get to it, to try to kind of pin it in between the forks and the ground as best he can.
Okay, for sure, for sure. So, Mouth's mom kind of comes in and, like, seeing the situation, how you guys kind of have this monster pinned. You see her eyes kind of like look up and down and all over this thing, and it seems to be very similar technology kind of hooked into this guy's head that's hooked into hers. And you see her like, and with 3 shots, you see like the fluid that was sort of pouring out before is now kind of like spilling out of like his shoulder and the destroyed areas you guys have inflicted on him. And like with the slow, like turn, almost impossibly far turn, like maybe his face was looking at the ground, and it's now like turning all the way around to look at you. The game isn't over yet.
I think Crazy Joe would yell and be like, "Pops, you still got that flamethrower?"
Yeah, it's just behind me here on the forklift.
He kind of unshoulders it and hands it to Crazy Joe.
Uh-oh. He's gonna put it on and go to town on this.
I'm not gonna make you roll for it. He's pretty pinned. And as you lay into this guy with the flamethrower, the fluids that were spilling out kind of ignite, leading to like small explosions within the chambers of his mech suit here. And you see like his head kind of like glitch, and maybe even like his eyes themselves kind of reminiscent of the Cylon eyes on Mouth's mom kind of like flick. The gate, as he kind of catches on fire. And with that, we are going to end the session. So as it stands, you have taken down the behemoth. Atlas is a bloody pulp that requires medical attention. Mouth's mom is G and a thug, and Archie has escaped, though injured.
And she makes a wicked sandwich, man.
She makes a killer spaghetti. And yeah, Archie managed to take off down this this ravine. So yeah, that's it for Crossroads, episode 3 of Care Package. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna go ahead and get right into outros so we can discuss this off video. But I'm gonna go reverse order, starting with Philip.
Thanks for the game. It was super fun. I'll be seeing you guys around.
Always a pleasure to have you. Jose?
Yeah, man. Thanks for the game. It was a lot of fun, and definitely had a lot of fun playing Crazy Joe again.
Also, always a pleasure to have you. Glad you guys enjoyed it. Jeremy?
Yeah, again, echoing what everybody else has said, man, I had an absolute blast. Again, check me out on the Erasmus Expeditions. I'm also part of a podcast called The Dudes of Yore. I'd love to have you guys listen in and kind of give us what you think. But yeah, dude, I mean, like I said during the break, it's so great to be on the other side of the screen for seeing how the system works, and the setting, just to kind of see somebody else's take on it. I'm a sucker for 80s action anything, so I love this kind of stuff, and I eat it with a spoon. So I had an absolute blast, and thank you guys very much for playing alongside me, and thank you very much, Baron, for running it.
Of course. I didn't expect much from the setting when I first started making it, and it kind of just spiraled out of control. So it was funny in the last episode when you're like, can we get like, mech suits? And it was like, that's literally what I had just come out doing. Like, we'll get there. All right, finally, Dave.
Hey folks, I'm Dave with Mornblade Gaming, and again, I had a fun session. Just some crazy shit, blowing shit up and shooting stuff. A lot of fun, and I look forward to what the future holds.
Like I've said with everyone here, appreciate you bearing with me as I try to run you guys through someone else's setting. There are some difficulties with that because you want to try to stay true to the source material, go in your own way. But I'm having fun with it. I hope you guys are too. This has been our RWD Gaming video, playtesting Jeremy Lilly's E.engine. If you guys are interested in that, get a hold of him. He's over at Erasmus Expeditions on YouTube. Definitely feel free to check all these players' channels out. I have the descriptions and the link below, I believe. And until next time, we will catch you then.